will be between High Prince Gavitar Coden of Kael'Danan and Nahim Alei Marhi Lindal of the Gold Swords. Gavitar and Alei Marhi exchanged matching grins. "This will be fun," she said. "Come on then, lad. Let me put you out of your misery so you can go kiss your pretty wife." "Oh, I will kiss her soon enough, but first I have to whip your scrawny arse." "I have a nice fat arse. Ask Galwin," Alei said, taking her stance. "I've seen it more times than I cared to count, Alei. You never take time to put on trousers when you go looking for a midnight snack," Gavitar grinned. The bell dinged, and they were at it. She ducked under his thrust and got a quick tap on his left leg, and he caught her upper right arm with a smooth slice of his blunted sword. The crowds cheered, and the warriors danced away from one another, both grinning. They circled one another for a bit before closing again and exchanging several blows. Gavitar saw Alei's hands and shoulders tense, and her feet shift slightly, and knew she was about to attempt to lunge under his parry. He sidestepped and caught her right leg with the same tap she had used before. 1-2. She did a series of quick thrusts, and he parried, then advanced, beating back her next several strikes. He went on for an overhead strike, and she ducked, rolling under the arc of his swing and coming up behind him. He felt a light tap on the back of his leg. 2-2. She fell into a pattern he was familiar with, fatigue finally catching her. In truth, it was catching him too. He waited for the lull when she went for the overhanded thrust, and he caught her side. The crowds cheered and the fighters embraced and waited for the judges to give their verdict to the caller. By 1 point, High Prince Gavitar advances. Alei bowed to Gavitar with a flourish, and they returned to the sidelines to watch Prince Richard versus Lord Frederick Payne. It was clear that Lord Frederick wasn't going to give in to the last. He fought cleanly, skillfully. He hadn't made this far by chance. Payne drove Richard back about 10 steps, and Gavitar saw something crack inside the other man. Unlike Lenathena, Richard could not hide his thoughts and emotions. It seemed that his breaking point was close to the surface. They were 3-2, advantage to Payne. But when Payne hit the fourth strike and eased up so Richard could take the advantage, Richard came after him with vengeance. He rained blows down on Payne's head and shoulders, driving him to the ground, until all Payne could do was cover his head. Finally, Richard stopped and seemed to get a hold of himself. The crowds were frozen in silent horror. Without offering aid to his fallen opponent, the prince stalked off the field. "Well, we know who you're up against next," Galvin murmured. Gavitar rose and walked onto the field to help Payne to his feet. "Time to get your mind on the battle ahead," Galvin said as they stepped back into the arena. "It's a tournament, not a battle," he said, taking his sword from his thane. "You're stupid if you don't think that Prince Richard will try to stick his sword through your guts, blunt or no." Galvin checked Gavitar's straps himself. "He hasn't had to work nearly as hard as you for his wins today. He is fresher and he is pissed." Gavitar nodded to Galvin and walked toward the center of the sandy field. Richard met him there and nodded. "Did you enjoy yourself last night between my cousin's sweet thighs?" Gavitar ignored him. The bell dinged and they began circling each other, testing for weak spots. "Was she wet for you, my dear cousin? She likes a good chase, a fight. Makes her all slippery." Richard thought to goad Gavitar to something stupid, to make him so angry he wouldn't think. And when Richard grinned, Gavitar saw the evil in him, the thing that made Lenathena afraid. Gavitar danced Richard backward with a few well-timed thrusts that the other man wasn't prepared for. Richard set his jaw. "I did my best the easier way, but perhaps you prefer plowing a tight, dry cunny the first time, barbarian that you are." Gavitar drove him backwards, beating his blade back every time he tried to thrust. Richard wasn't a terrible swordsman, but he was arrogant and used to an easy win. Every time Richard growled and tried to drive him back, Gavitar sidestepped or turned, and Richard went past him. Gavitar got 3 touches that way, and he wasn't gentle with them. "She's nothing but a scheming slut," Richard panted, coming at him again with a series of brutal thrusts. Gavitar dodged and parried with the finesse of someone who'd had a sword in his hand every day from the age of 4. It wasn't a tool, but an extension of himself. He got another touch with a well-timed thrust. You will see soon. She will start sneaking out on you, Richard sneered, saying she's going to plays or dinner with friends. She will really be going to drink and flirt and fuck. Gavantar ducked under Richard's swing and caught the back of his knee with a forceful blow, causing the prince to fall forward. Richard rolled onto his back.
Oh, you're on.
Yeah.
You're back.
Richard on his back. There you go. Gavantar kicked his sword away and placing his foot on his chest.
Hang on. Not too hard.
You didn't win one fight fairly today. Every man you gave way to your pride. You are nothing but a coward and a bully. Gavantar spat on the ground next to his head. You weren't worthy to take her name in your mouth. He removed his foot. Don't come near her or speak to her again unless I am at her side, or I will show you what a real swordsman can do with live steel in his hands. Gavantar turned and walked away, heading for the royal box to claim his prize and his wife.